This podcast is based on real-life events that are portrayed to the best of Athena and Amber's memory and also backed by court records and other factual evidence. While all the stories in the podcast are true, some names and identifying details have been changed to protect the privacy of the people involved.
Previously on Ex-Wives Undercover. Amber, the other women, and I quickly come together on the Charlie's Angels text thread. Next, the women support me while I take Ben on in family court. Amber also continues her mission to finalize her divorce with Ben. And in a shocking twist, Amber and I realize that Avery has betrayed us, and she has gone back to Ben.
Welcome to Ex-Wives Undercover.
Liars, cheaters, and love cons.
I'm Amber.
And I'm Athena.
First we told our story, and now we're sharing all of your craziest and most heart-wrenching stories of love gone wrong. Sometimes we laugh.
And sometimes we cry.
But more importantly,
we stand together. All right, girl. You ready to do this?
Let's do it.
The views, information, or opinions expressed on our show by our guests are solely the views of those individuals involved and by no means represent absolute facts. Opinions expressed by the host and guests may change at any time. Our podcast and YouTube show may at times cover sensitive topics, including but not limited to suicide, abuse, violence. Listener and viewer discretion is advised. Season 2, Episode 2, Fallen Angel. I felt like I was living in a nightmare and I couldn't wake up. After the hurt and betrayal from Avery, I felt like I couldn't trust my own instincts about anything or anyone. Just when I thought the knife she put in our back couldn't be shoved any deeper, I was proven wrong. Avery decided to appear before the judge on behalf of Ben during his pretrial hearing. Amber and I could not believe our ears. After everything she had recently found out and everything Ben had done to her, how the hell could she have taken him back?
Good afternoon, and I apologize for how lengthy this hearing is. Unfortunately, there was another judge prior to me, and I needed to get all the facts.
Recommended email Officer Jordal on February 15th. She thanked him for his help and said that she was on her way to file a restraining order. I'm looking at her history, and it looks like she did go to Pierce County Superior Court and attempted to file a temporary protection order with Pierce County before, and that was 5 days before the arraignment took place, where we received our own no contact order. The city has concerns, obviously, about the fact that there have been allegations that he has violated the no contact order, at least in terms of him contacting one of the other victims in this case through text messaging. I do have concerns with the complete 180. It seems that her attitude towards prosecution has vastly changed since this case began. And so, given the city's case, given the previous violations, I'm not arguing for the ones here today, but the previous violations, I am objecting to the lifting of the no contact order. And I think that, it's great that he's doing treatment, but 1 month it's not enough to cure someone, but it's good progress. So I think it might just be a little bit too premature in terms of, treatment components with it. So I'm happy to answer any other questions by the court.
And if you're going to speak, I just need you to be at the microphone so it can get picked up.
When I had made my initial statement, that was all based off of what Athena and Amber had told me. And I was just in a state of shock and confusion. And I was just really angry and upset. And towards the end, and they had befriended me and told me all sorts of misleading things. And when I finally decided that I was done with the relationship with them, because I did not feel that, I felt like it was more for revenge and to get back at him for past relationship issues. That's when I realized that I was not correct by feeling the way I had, and it was based off of the misleading things they had told me. But like I had said, never even yelled at me or cursed at me. I mean, in no way has he ever made me feel scared or threatened at all.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate your statements to the court.
I was super in shock, but then I
Yeah.
was like, I should have seen that coming. This is not that shocking. I saw that coming. I knew in my gut.
Yeah. I felt super betrayed. I felt it reminded me of what I need to work on, my own stuff, because I'd let a Ben in my life and then a Brad in my life. And then although I'd only known Avery a short amount of time, I allowed her in my life. Then I started questioning myself and feeling like I couldn't trust my own instincts. Why didn't I see this? Because you and Deanna originally, and then you, but I was still, like I said previously, making excuses for her, going, no, you guys, she's just upset because that guy was a fake, and she's just upset. That's probably why she's more quiet, not being herself. But you guys felt it and knew it, and I'm way too freaking nice sometimes, man.
But I think that goes to show that, the Bens and the Brads, and they prey on exactly that, trusting people,
Yeah.
compassionate people. And this is not to say that Avery was a bad person because she took him back.
No.
It's just,
yeah.
I think with those kind of people, you have to be done in your own time.
True.
And for me, it took 5 years. It took you 5 years. It's just her path wasn't quite done yet. She still wanted to believe that she could get him help. And so no, I don't want anyone to think, oh my gosh, she's a bad person for doing that. Because it wasn't that. She kicks herself.
Because we had done the exact same thing for
much
longer, actually. A good few years longer than she did. So he's just very good at what he does. And so although I felt like you, I felt like the tiger that we always talked about and joked about before it really became a thing. And I'd be like, be nice, Amber. Don't be the mean girl.
Oh, because I would just roar.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It just like spewed out of me because I felt so betrayed. I couldn't believe that as a female that you would hurt and backstab other women. Where's the loyalty? Where's the camaraderie that we had formed? In my mind, I thought, was it all fake from the beginning? It made me think. I got paranoid. Like, was she on the side the whole time? Was she getting information from us? So it was hard to swallow. What did you feel like?
Yeah, no, all of those things.
Yeah.
You're right, because it is that moment of, you knew everything. You know what I mean? So it's one thing.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm a hypocrite for saying this.
And he did a lot of shit to her.
Right. And so
she knew 100%.
Right. And so, a lot of people would be like, oh my God, Amber, you kept taking him back and you knew this and that. I'm like, but I didn't know the bulk of it. And so I had assumptions of, I didn't think he was probably raped, or that we probably didn't have that money. I really didn't know the bulk of it. And so I kept taking him back. But like for her, I'm like, oh my gosh, you had it all laid out. You had everything. You saw how he destroyed his daughter and all of these multiple women, including herself. And so that's where it's mind-boggling over you still would rather betray these women who you know are not lying and have showed you the proof, and you still would jeopardize a child's welfare.
I know.
At the time, going back, I was pissed. I was tigering out too. Like, I think I'd never seen you tiger out like that.
I know. I was so angry because it was jeopardizing my daughter.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what I felt defeated, was like, oh my gosh, girl, all because you think you're the one. Do you really think you're the one? Because he got you a fake ring and he did a fake tattoo on his hand. Like, he did all the things.
He did things.
He did the
and
thing.
said the words, and he was showing up with gifts and
yes,
presents
and I'm
on
like,
a doorstep nonstop.
don't you know better by now that he does the things? We know he does the
But
things.
I wonder if, but here's the thing. She was, and I'm not mean to be disrespectful, Avery, if you're listening to this, this is my point of view, and I'm not trying to be a bitch when I say this, but it was, you were the main wife, and then he had Deanna, and then third was her brought on, all while trying to juggle you and then Miss Norway and all that. So I wonder, because she had given him a very long rope, knowing that he was very busy because he had laid the foundation. Cindy comes first and this, that, and the other. That I wonder if he had never really schmoozed her, really laid it on thick and schmoozed her. And did that heavy manipulation with the gifts and the I love yous and you're the one, until after everybody was out of the picture. Now, like, he's going after hardcore, and maybe that made her feel special at that moment. Like, wow.
Yeah, I mean,
do you think that was the first time he laid it on that thick?
I think that he always lays it on thick in the beginning. Okay. But I think you're right there, because here's the deal. I mean, I don't want to sound like, I don't even know how to word it in a way that doesn't sound arrogant or whatever, but he simply doesn't have the time to spend with all those women. Yeah. And I know as his wife that he was with me the majority of the time. And so that means he had to, what little time he had to spread out over 4 girlfriends at some point. So they both were getting, all of them were getting kind of scraps, and not me saying, oh my God, I'm so great. I had such a great, not at all. But I'm just saying, like, realistically, they all were getting crumbs, and they had, you know what I mean? So like you were telling me, you know, when there was that moment of him saying, I messed up. I shouldn't have chose Amber. I should have chose Avery. You kind of go into competition mode, whether you want to or
just
not.
Natural instinct.
Yes. And I remember you saying, Amber, don't play the game. And I was like, nope, I'm good. I'm not going to play the game. If he wants her, he can have her. But maybe she did feel a little competition.
Maybe it felt good.
Yeah,
maybe it felt good that I
won. Out of all these girls, he wants me.
Yep.
And that's natural.
That's very natural. And that could definitely have persuaded her to go to the dark side.
And also, if you think about it, you know, she got to meet the family. She got to establish a relationship with Sydney. Deanna didn't. Deanna was kept hidden the entire time. He wasn't.
That's very true.
He wasn't shown to the rooftops that Deanna was his girl. He had her hidden for 2+ years.
Yeah, good
Same
point.
with Jordan. Same with Norway. Yeah. He kept all of those girls hidden, but yet he took Avery to his family, and that's a big deal.
That is a big deal. Like, you would think, any woman would think, and man would think, that was significant.
After our defeat in court, we received another blow. Amber received a text message from Avery's friend informing us that the reconnected lovebirds were vacationing in Arizona.
Defying the court order and going on a romantic vacation was a blatant middle finger to everybody, and it demonstrated that Ben and Avery were going to do whatever the fuck they wanted. Ben was an arrogant motherfucker and clearly knew that the courts wouldn't do shit. At this point, he had broken the no contact orders multiple times, intimidated the victims, fled the court, and now this. Would there be any stop to this injustice? We were already in absolute disbelief that Ben got away with drinking alcohol by creating a fake receipt from the Mexican restaurant he was at with his buddies and submitted to the court that it was oyster shooters.
The defense filed a receipt from the Aberdeen restaurant, which purports to show that the defendant consumed an oyster shooter rather than alcohol. As the court is familiar with this case, you will remember that there was a lot of back and forth about the photograph from Mr. Johnson's Facebook showing him what looked like him taking a shot glass and something in that shot glass. City's position, it was alcohol. Defense's position, it was an oyster shooter. The defense filed a receipt showing that it looked like it was indeed an oyster shooter. However, both myself and Rule 9, Cody Erickson, contacted the restaurant. We both spoke to individuals. They said that there were no, they don't serve oyster shooters. Additionally, I did contact the manager of the restaurant, and he provided a written statement via email that he believes that the document was falsified, as they do not serve oyster shooters, and that's attached as plaintiff's exhibit number 4.
Let's defend this exhibit number 1.
You may.
It's a letter from Brian Mora. And type exhibit number 2 is the other. A letter from Robbie Wayne. I did just contact both those people on the telephone and confirmed that they wrote those and that they signed those documents. One person is the one who was there in Aberdeen with the oyster shooter episode or incident, and the other one was the one who served the oyster shooter.
Has the prosecutor had an opportunity to review these letters?
And I was just given them about 15 minutes ago. Counsel made a phone call, put Brian Mora on speakerphone. I asked him very simple questions such as, what's the address of the restaurant? He wasn't able to provide that. I asked him what the name of the manager was. He provided a name different than Francisco. And I asked him who was the cashier, and he said Nellie.
This is
Let me
like
ask,
kind of chaos.
Did you contacted Mazatlan Restaurant, or how did you contact Brian Mora?
I contacted the numbers that are on those pieces of paper.
And how did you get these numbers?
I got them from my client.
And how did he get these numbers? Are these from
I
the
don't have that evidence to present. I don't know. But I mean, he went down when he heard this allegation was being made. He doesn't drink, and so he took it very seriously, and he went down to Aberdeen to get these made. My understanding.
It's very difficult posture for the court when I have obviously letters from the prosecutor stating that they didn't serve them, and then I have a letter from defense counsel stating that they did. Nothing's under penalty of perjury.
Right.
So what does the city want me to do?
Mr. Erickson and I are both willing to state under the penalty of perjury that we called the phone number of the Mazatlan Restaurant for Aberdeen and spoke to people who work there.
Based on the information that the court has been provided by both parties, there's nothing under penalty of perjury by either the prosecutor or by defense counsel. And I understand, Ms. Fitzgibbon, that you're stating that you and Mr. Erickson contacted Mazatlan. I think it's Mazatlan Restaurant. But Mr. Mora is stating that they don't have the oyster shooters all the time, but they did at this time. I mean, does the court have to get off the bench and make the phone call to find out what the truth is?
I was just provided that, Your Honor. So I asked him several different questions, and he wasn't able to answer even the address of the location.
Well, the court doesn't feel like it can make a determination when I have conflicting information and neither of them under penalty of perjury.
Well, the city also provided character evidence regarding the parenting plan fabrication, as well as the fact that he has been convicted of attempted insurance fraud.
Right. The court is not going to make a determination on the receipt until the court receives under penalty of perjury language that there wasn't oysters or there was oysters or this receipt. I mean, the receipt that was generated, did Mr. Francisco Arcio, did he see the receipt? I mean, yes, and did he state that is not a receipt from their organization?
Yes.
Okay, and so then the question goes as well, when did he work there? Was he working there at that time? Was he the manager at that time?
He told me he was the manager at that time, but I don't know how many years he's been there for.
Right. I think the court needs more information, and it needs it to be under penalty of perjury for the court to consider the information that's been provided by either party.
There was no way Ben was going to get away with it this time. The evidence was all there. While I was no longer friends with Avery on social media, her friends were, and they weren't shy about forwarding texts and photos to me and Athena. Ben and Avery thought they were being careful about not posting selfies together, but again, any moron could put 2 and 2 together. So we diligently collected everything and turned it into the prosecutor.
And they thought they were so smart and trying to be coy. And the friend sends the picture that Avery had posted on her Instagram. And it's a picture tagging Phoenix, #Phoenix, #love.
Oh, I know.
Fuck you, dude. I was like,
Billy Joel,
oh
like,
my
with the
God.
love of my life.
yes,
Oh,
puke. And so,
we're like, really?
yeah,
No.
so she doesn't take a selfie and post it. She takes just a picture of the concert, but then putting herself in Arizona, putting herself at the Billy Joel concert, putting herself with love. And so I'm like, great, we'll use that as evidence. Then I'm like, let me look up Billy Joel. Was he there that weekend? Yes, he was. Screenshot the confirmation of his tour dates. Great. We'll add that to our evidence. And then I was like, what else we got? So then we went over to Ben's profile. Ben posted a picture of himself standing in front of this old Cadillac car, some kind of old collector car. Do you remember?
In front of a cafe.
Yes. And you were the one that said it was a coffee shop. And you're like, where's that coffee shop? Because it's very unique.
It does
and
not look familiar at all anywhere around here.
Look local to the area is what it looked like a little, So you do your little investigative work. Within 5 seconds, you send me a screenshot going, yeah, that coffee shop's only located in Phoenix.
Yep. Boom.
There we
Only one
have
of them.
it. There we have it. It should
On a
be-
silver platter.
Yeah, there should be no way. And then as the little cherry on top, we were able to provide their plane reservations as well to the courts. So actually the weekend of when she was in Arizona was actually my real birthday. The following weekends when we had plans to have a girls' weekend. Yes. And we were going to have me and you and Deanna and Dee and Avery.
Yes.
And we were just going to have fun and hit the
Charlie's
town.
Angels reunite.
Yeah. So then we were down to 4. So it was just kind of an all around just bad time.
Yeah.
I didn't feel.
It wasn't a bad time.
No, just disappointing that we didn't have all of us together and that.
Right. Yeah.
It was just like on a sour note.
Leading
and I
up
felt like
to it was a sour note. You're right.
Yeah. And I feel like that they were rubbing it in our faces.
I hadn't been out with friends since Cameron was born, so I was definitely looking forward to a girls' night out. I wasn't at my pre-baby weight yet, so trying to find something to wear was actually laughable. Amber and I played dress up in my closet and then both started on our hair and makeup. And when we both emerged from 2 different rooms, we began laughing at what we were both looking at.
I've never taken as long as I did and still have to lose my baby weight because I'm not that cute, skinny little pregnant person with a bump. I'm like all thighs and ass and arm. I'm just like, I'm like a log. It's just the way it is. And I've accepted it. But the one thing that I've always looked forward to or always known is that I can drop the weight so quickly right after. But that was not the case. This old lady giving birth much later in life. Oh my gosh.
No joke.
So we had our red lipstick on, our signature red lips, and we had our turquoise earrings, and it was just so funny. And I was like, I'll change mine. It's your birthday. You get to look hot and feel good.
The first stop was to pick up Deanna from the salon she worked at in Bellevue, and then we were off to have dinner and drinks at Earl's. Dee had plans to meet up with us a bit later. It was an amazing feeling to be able to see Deanna in person, especially after all of the calls and texts we all had previously. We had become so close in such a short period of time while trying to get Sydney protected in family court. It was tough knowing that one of Charlie's angels was missing. Avery chose the wrong side and she teamed up with Ben, which meant that she had officially moved over to the dark side and was now a fallen angel. Next up, we were off to the rooftop lounge at the W for a round of birthday shots. Let's just say Amber and I should have cut ourselves off hours earlier than we did because the following morning, we both could barely remember everything that transpired those last few hours.
vividly being drunk going, and she's the wife and I'm the wife and she's the girlfriend. Funny, right? We're all together. And we had another girlfriend too.
That's
And
right.
they're just
They're
like,
what? Like, that is so rad. And they're like,
Yeah.
all of you? Like,
all the
whoa.
girlfriends and the wives. Oh yeah.
They were shocked as
They were
shit.
dying. Yeah.
And then after like a bunch of rounds being bought for us over and over and drinking that 75 proof or whatever the heck I was drinking, rum or whatever the heck it was. I was like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom, like shimmied off. And like, that's when I think you and Dee had like a heartfelt talk and you're like,
I start crying. So I was telling her about the miscarriages. So she's trying to take care of a weeping Amber. At the same time, she's like, I'm missing a wife. Where's Athena? So she drags my drunk ass to the bathroom and she's like, Athena, hello, where are you? And you're like, I'm in here.
I do? Okay.
Yes. And it's the door's locked. So I get on my hands and knees on a gross bathroom floor and crawl under.
But we don't remember this until
No.
3 days later, by the
Yes.
way, when Dee actually tells us what actually happened. We just remember going and getting to the Uber, and I'm holding a Starbucks empty cup.
Yeah.
And you're saying to the Uber, he's like, she's not going to pick up my
She's
car.
not getting in. She's not getting in. I'm like, oh, but you have to, please. And I'm begging. I'm like, she has a cup. See? Like,
Yeah,
she can puke
you
in
were
the cup.
you convinced him. You were amazing. And I was like trying to pretend. I was like,
I'm
And
good.
then, yeah, I was like, I'm fine. Like on the cup, and then I sit in there, and I was like holding the cup in front of my face, and you're like, "Good job, baby. You're doing so good." It's like you're talking to Sydney. You're like, "Good job, sweetie. Like, oh my gosh, you're doing so great."
Oh,
And I was
we're
like,
a mess.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. And the
Mess.
next day, once we get the full story, that's when Dee tells us that you officially crawled underneath the
Yeah.
bathroom stall, brought me a bottle of water, held up my hair while I vomited in the toilet
Bonding for life.
while the club was closed, by the way. Got me and convinced some random stranger that I could handle my shit and get into your Uber.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And then
I
Dee
got your
walked us
back.
out.
After our big night out, me and Athena discovered even more information. The ring that Ben had wooed Avery back with was fake. Big surprise, right? The mean girl in me couldn't help but laugh. What a fool Avery was. How long before she realized that she fell for more of Ben's bullshit?
We had just actually talked to the domestic abuse lady, the victim's advocate, and she wanted us to reach out to Avery.
Correct.
Because we were all concerned about the behavior and then her going back to Ben. So then I came across some information that Ben had bought a fake diamond ring on Amazon for $29.99. And then upon closer look, it was the same one that Avery had sent us before she betrayed us and said, he bought me these rings. He's showing me how committed he is. And I'm like, oh my God.
It was the BOGO. It was the BOGO 2-for-1.
We were dying going, oh my God, it's the ring. It's the ring that he had told Avery about. And now I have confirmation that
And the
it's
box
fake.
looked beautiful when she
It
showed it
did.
to us.
Yes.
And it's like it was a band. It was a wedding band. It was a engagement ring and a wedding band or whatever. It was definitely the two. And so we were like, okay, but we knew better because of our experiences. Duh. Yeah. So then when we found out and was sent this information that, nope, this was on Amazon. And we compared the photo. They're identical.
Yeah. I mean, I had a little chuckle. I'm not gonna lie.
Because at that point, she'd been backstabbed.
You deserve
us.
that, girl. You
So
deserve
we're like,
that.
whoa.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Yeah. We weren't being mean
So-
girls. We were being like any other woman in the world would feel like after they just got a knife jammed in their back.
Yeah.
Right? When you're in love, you don't give two shits if your ring is fake or not fake, if it's a piece of twine, a blade of grass. But when somebody tries to fool you and talk up this huge, very expensive purchase, this diamond and this, that, it's very different. And that's why
He was deceitful.
we feel
about
the
it.
way we feel.
But needless to say, I reached out to her and told her that we were concerned for her, that the victim's advocate wanted us to reach out. oh,
right.
by the way, you have a fake ring. And then
Oops.
she goes, yeah, right. Because remember, she's like, oops, I meant that for someone else when she was on Valentine's Day. So I was like, oops, sorry, did I let that slip?
Yes. And I did not care if that little tiger you came out because she deserved at that point. And at the same time, I wanted her to know, and I didn't need an easy, smooth delivery.
Yeah,
she didn't deserve it.
It was a bumpy delivery, but needless to say, her response was, I know. I'm like, no, you don't.
That's right.
You don't know that your ring's fake. You're pissed right now. I know you are. And your guys are going to go argue right now because.
Did we send her a screenshot of her exact purchase on?
Yes.
Yeah. There it is. Ba-boom, ba-boom.
There's the ring. And she
was like,
to say, I already know that.
And we were like, ha, they're going to fight tonight.
Yeah. And I was like, you deserve better than a $29.99 ring.
That's right. Oh my goodness.
She's like, we're not together and you're harassing me. I'm like, okay, well, thank you very much. I won't be contacting you anymore, but I hope you feel really super smart right now.
I know.
That's all I have to say. I'm going to go party with my girls right now. You should be here, actually.
I know.
So, while our girls' night was a blast, it definitely poked the bear because Ben went on a rampage. Deanna sent a group text in complete panic. Someone had alerted her that she had been posted on multiple slut-shaming and cheating websites. And in complete disbelief, we started searching her name on Google, and up popped multiple hits with her full name, phone number, place of business, and photos saying the most awful and horrific things anyone could ever say. Here's a clip from our interview with Deanna.
So how did you find out you were on the dirty.com to begin with?
He had the guy that I had been dating who was Axel. He's cool with that.
His name could be on here?
Yeah, he's cool with that. But he was a private military contractor. So the email address is absolutely 100% like protected via spyware. So he knew something. And it was just a blanket email, which has been submitted into court, just saying, hey, but you should know what type of woman you're dating. And it was the slut shaming post.
Oh, so he got an anonymous email from someone with a link to dirty.com. Your boyfriend did?
Yes. And here's what's interesting. The day it was posted was also the day that Avery gave me a call at 2:00 in the morning. I didn't answer. And not 4 hours later, the exact testimony of what he signed and swore into court. No, because he was trying to convince a court that he was justified in slut shaming me because I deserved it. It was destroying my business. It was destroying everything. We ended up finding out that he was using SEO tags on anything I'd ever accomplished. The Pentagon, CNN, the Pentagon Channel, Fox Sports Net, Good Morning America, all of the therapy, all the philanthropic work that I'd done. He would, if people are aware of SEO, it's kind of like the backbones of things. And so you don't necessarily see it, but what it does is it generates keywords and hashtags. So that way, when somebody Googles something, it populates up whore.
So instead of Googling and finding all your philanthropic, like philanthropic work, they are seeing your name pop up on like multiple slut shaming websites. And then,
and there's only 2 Deanna Rails in the poor country. This poor girl in Maine was like, what's going on?
Oh, gosh.
But I just remember getting to my phone when I got home, and there's just like all these back and forth messages with us 3.
Yes.
And she's like,
freaking out.
Ben put my face, my photos, my everything on slut shaming sites like the Dirty and cheater websites, her business name, her phone number,
her Instagram,
saying she's a slut, just the worst things you could possibly say about someone.
I know.
That she has STDs, that she uses people for money, that she's an alcoholic. What else did they say?
Oh God, he was worst.
The worst
he claimed
things.
Rape amongst multiple men.
That she's claimed rape on 6 men.
Mentally ill, just she's a whore, like anything.
Yes.
That is the most horrible thing that you could read about yourself or think to call someone. He did, and he put her on a very public website, and it was
And
Awful.
yeah. And so it was like 1. And then I remember all of us girls are like, well, we're going to comment in the comment section.
Right.
Like, hi, Ben. This is clearly Ben.
Hi, Ben.
Yeah. And like,
we know what you're doing. Nice try.
We know what you're doing. You're such
We're trying to wash it out. Yeah.
Yeah. But then more and more and more and more sites. I mean, I think there was like
other sites
79.
It was like a computer, like I don't even know, algorithm. They just like spawn. And before we knew it was what, 30 sites?
I think in total, she said there's like 79 at this point.
Yeah, I believe it.
And he had actually done this to her prior, and I forgot about that because
very true.
I think it was right in the very beginning of her career, but he had created fake Facebook profiles and like slut shamed her on those. But then I believe he took them down, and he admitted to doing that to her, and then he took them down. But so this is something he's done before, but we were in shock. Like, I didn't even know what the dirty was. I had no idea. So I remember like typing my name going, oh my God, did he do this to me too? And
me too.
Being horrified and like, I don't know why he's going after her so off. Like he didn't do that with any of us.
No, he went after her at a different level.
Ben was going to get his because we had proof this time that he broke the court order by going to Arizona with Avery. And at his next court hearing, we listened intently. It was going well until it wasn't.
He's going to get in trouble for going to Arizona.
Yes.
So, So that's when we were like, okay, we have all the proof. Like I just mentioned before, we have plane tickets. We have pictures putting them with her tagging them in Arizona. I mean, we have confirmation that Billy Joel was there on his tour.
We were very confident.
We were super confident. And we had just looked like fools with the oyster shooter thing. And now we're like, we got to redeem ourselves. And we were all on fire for what he did to Deanna.
Yes.
And so sitting there in court, it's like, I didn't even think, I don't even know. I just, common sense. Like if it looks like a duck and walks like a duck, it's a duck. It's like we're sitting there and the court says, can you go to the company that monitors his ankle monitor? And we're like, yeah. And I just remember them saying, yes, we can confirm your honor was in fact in Bothell. And it was like slow motion. Like, what? He was not.
So they called a recess so that they could call him on the side. Mm-hmm, I remember that.
I felt so defeated. So he got away with it again.
Steroid enhanced Ben would not ever be still an idol at the exact same address 24/7. Therefore, when they came back into the court and we were listening to it all,
he didn't move.
He never moved.
Days
he never
on
left his home for like, what was it, like 7 days or 4 days?
Yeah.
I'm like,
really?
Bullshit. He does not cook food. He buys food like daily, or he has to go to the grocery store every few days to buy Lean Pockets or whatever. And he's going to go to the gym 1 or 2 times a day. And his complex did not have a gym. Therefore, he was going to LA Fitness or wherever the fuck he was going. And so I was like, that is not possible. That is not possible that his ankle monitor mapped him at the exact location without moving for 4 or 5 days. No fucking way.
Here's the actual court audio from that day. Check it out.
My offer of proof, I've handed it forward to the court. I have proof. Amber Rasmussen, first of all, wrote a declaration under the penalty of perjury that she saw that there were tickets booked to Arizona on March 8th through March 10th, 2019 for Brandon Johnson. And they were from Mr. Johnson's personal Expedia account. And she also verified that she did not book those tickets. And then I provided also a copy of the air cost. It was for $371.07. You can see that includes passenger as well as Mr. Johnson. You can see that their itineraries are here. Also attached that they're seated right next to each other, the round trip tickets. Another allegation, and then also as another further offer of proof, it was for them to attend a concert in Arizona together, which took place on March 9th, 2019. And there's a copy of Miss attending the Billy Joel concert per her Instagram account. And also Mr. Johnson texted a photograph on his Facebook, which was for a coffee stand in Cooperstar Coffee, which is also located in Arizona.
And Your Honor, I can address all of this.
All right.
Okay, so, and I think that the first thing that I would like to address is the trip to Arizona, and I have two things to address with that. First of all, if you look at section, I think it's section 4 or 5 of the motion that we filed, or the evidence that we filed in this case, there is information showing that he canceled both of his trips to Arizona. Today, however, the picture outside of the coffee stand was posted to his Facebook account from Arizona. It is dated April 17th, 2017. It is an old picture. I don't know if they reposted it. I don't know if they cut the picture to add different information to it, but it was an old picture that was posted in 2017. He was in Arizona in 2017. As well, I will note for the court that if they wanted to prove that he was in Arizona, it would be very easy because he either would have cut off the GPS bracelet that the court currently has him on, or he would be in Arizona with the GPS bracelet on. He has continually worn a GPS bracelet during the pendency of this case as ordered by the court. So to make these allegations through pictures and other information when the prosecutor could have just gotten a copy of the GPS information is odd to me.
Wait, give me a second. Do we have a copy of the GPS information?
We do not have a copy. That is something that we can provide to the court.
All right, and we took a recess so we could get confirmation by GPS if Mr. Johnson was in Arizona. I believe, was it March 8th? I can't remember the dates.
March 8th through the 10th.
Okay, March 8th through the 10th. Mr. Erickson, were you able to contact the GPS company?
I was, Your Honor, and they informed me that he was involved on all 3 dates, 8th, 9th, and 10th, and City of the State of Washington.
All right. Does the city want to be heard on that?
No.
Turns out the woman lawyer that was representing Ben in this matter fired him after she found out that he was submitting fake evidence into court. However, his new male lawyer picked up right where she left off and carried on his agenda to paint us as the bad guys.
Do you want to be heard on that? It appears that we did not discuss that at the last hearing.
Well, at the last hearing, I think that GPS ultimately proved that that was not credible, the allegation that was made about Arizona. And then the next step, my understanding is that that's not just a small allegation, that the whole meat of that allegation is that they took a picture from his Facebook page and they doctored the date in supplying this allegation. They suggested that this photograph from Arizona was recent. And in fact, it was very, very old, and that's a very deviant act that I would suggest should overshadow this, which is even unclear when the first 2 columns are from. The screenshot doesn't include the date. The witness says that she's basing her memory on a third screenshot. Thank you.
And for additional clarity regarding the infamous oyster shooters debacle, we did reach out to Ben's best friend, who was in the photo. And while he did not want to come on the podcast, he did confirm that it was indeed tequila shots in the photo, not oyster shooters.
Right. The next allegation is that the city alleges that the defendant has violated his pretrial release condition by failing to keep his address updated with the court. Ms. Fitzgibbon.
That's correct, Your Honor. Ever since I found out that the GPS company is willing to talk to the parties in the case, I was informed by the GPS company that he is now residing in Puyallup, and it's my understanding he hasn't provided an updated address with the court.
Mr. Trumbull, it looks like that the court's address is the Bothell, Washington address. Is your client residing at a different address?
Your Honor, at this point, I wanted to address that with the court. I was hoping to do that in just standard pretrial hearing, not a motion like this, but it appears that this case is very complicated. There's a lot of interest and a lot of people involved, and I think that it makes sense for nobody to share any addresses with anybody, including Mr. Johnson's, which normally wouldn't even be something that was asked for, but he comes to court, he's here, he's got bail company, knows his address, no objection to court knowing, the city, the prosecutors knowing, but to be sharing his address is not, I don't think, authorized at this point.
What I will order though is that he keep his address updated with the court. So if he is at a different location, he needs to give that address to Madam Clerk so she can update the court record.
And so that would be a public record, right?
Mr. Trumbull, without saving his address, is he at a different location than the Bothell, Washington address?
Yes, and I will give the court an update that.
Right. The court will find there is a violation of him not keeping his address updated.
It was his initiative to remind me in my disorganization to put the court on notice of his new address that he moved. I moved to Puyallup in an effort to stay clear of my ex-wife Athena and the people, et cetera, and the people that he feels are coming after him. He's given me evidence of them driving by his address and looking in his garage, having other people look in his garage to see if he's there. He feels stalked. I know he's the one that's under the microscope and he's not performing perfectly, but his GPS tracker, thank God he had that on him, so that was able to disprove the allegations about this Arizona thing. The GPS, thank goodness, shows that he didn't slash anyone's tire. It is concerning. The case is very concerning. Maybe we need to speed it up and get it to a trial so it comes to a resolution. But it's not all under Mr. Johnson's control.
So why didn't Ben want to update his address with the court? Well, it's very simple. That is because he had secretly moved into Avery's home in Tacoma, even though she still had her no contact order against him. That's the real truth, regardless of any BS his lawyer wanted to spin.
Ben continued to fight the parenting plan that was put in place with specific guidelines to protect Sydney. The judge allowed Ben to skip a few steps ahead of his mandatory therapy and allowed him to start monitored visits with Sydney. The woman my attorney referred me to monitor the visits seemed like a great fit. She had the credentials and was seasoned in her field. Ben agreed on her as well, so in no time, Ben, Sydney, and this woman began spending a decent amount of time each week. And although Sydney would usually defend her father and not me, she found herself shocked, upset, and feeling very defensive. On the car ride home, Sydney decided to confide in this woman so that she knew who her father really was.
I remember this shitty fucking judge even seeing that he had not completed task 1, task 2, task 3, like these basic 5-step program after everything that was written that he had done, all the 380 pages of evidence we had submitted. And she said, okay, this is just gone far too long. Like, this man needs to see his child.
Oh my God.
This is an abomination. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And I remember speaking when she was talking to my attorney, I remember speaking aloud and my attorney was like, and then because I said, how many times I said, I have followed every single thing that you've told me to do. You said, get a paper trail. I'm trying to create a paper trail. You said, when I came here in front of you by myself with no representation, do this, this, and this. I've done this, this, and this. You said, present me with details and facts. I presented you with details and facts. And now you're saying, and now he's signed off on this, agreeing that he's in this bad place. And now you're telling me it's gone on far too long. He has not met the standards of the agreement that we agreed upon with him getting professional mental health counseling to be a better father.
Yeah.
Yet this judge is belittling me, talking down to me
That's so disgusting.
I just sat there quiet before everyone said a word, and she just talked down to me. Okay, this has gone on far too long. Like, this is just not okay. And I thought, okay, is Ben fucking you? Like, I he's so manipulative. I was just like,
No.
what is happening? Like, did you even go back and read the other stuff? My attorney jumps in and she says, we definitely want a person there to monitor the visits. And so then, bada bing, bada boom, we get 3 or 4 different companies that are allowed. We're allowed to choose a monitor from. Go home, Ben gets to look, I get to look. We choose this male who is psycho crazy.
Yeah.
So then then my attorney finds this woman who I speak to, so down to earth, so kick ass, great. I talked to Ben, or my attorney talks to Ben and his attorney, both agree. She's got the background. Okay, cool. She seems very neutral. Little did I know.
Basically, she was nice to you in the very beginning, and then you start feeling like she's cold. She's getting a little distant and a little bit cold, just very odd.
Out of the blue. I assumed that the court represented her with everything that he had done.
Right.
And I do not believe that is the case.
Oh, interesting. So when Sydney came home one day in tears, saying, I overheard this monitor woman and my dad talking shit about you, that's when you were alerted.
Sydney was still borderline upset that she couldn't see her dad, right? She was very defensive. Do you remember?
Yeah.
She was still protecting him. It took time for her, years actually.
Yeah.
And I would never turn her against her dad. She just needed to take that time with her counselor to figure out what was right or what was wrong. I wasn't going to be the mean mom to say, oh, your dad's a bad guy, right? And so I just had to sit back and let her learn and do the work. And so the fact that when she came home, she actually was defending me for once and crying and upset and saying she'd gone upstairs to use the restroom and came back down, sat at the bottom of the stairs. And while she sat there, heard her dad and this woman talking shit about me for 20 minutes, belittling me.
Calling you stupid.
Hearing her dad tell this woman fake stories and lies, making me look bad. And so in her own way, when she got into the car to head home, she decided, I don't think you really know the truth.
That's right.
About who my dad really is and who my mom really is. And I was shocked. My daughter's never defended me in my life, ever. You know, I don't even know what to think about it. He had turned her against me for so many years.
Yeah, he really did. I mean, he started from the time we divorced. She didn't know any better. And so it's so hurtful as a mom to have your baby not respect you because of the bullshit lies that her father's been brainwashing her since she didn't even know any better.
But deep down, it was the best feeling.
But she knew.
Yeah. She knew what was right from wrong at that moment. And the fact that she felt upset because she was learning with her counselor that his lies hurt people. And she was feeling protective of this woman and didn't want to be a part of that anymore. She did not want to be a pawn in his game. And so she said, I need to tell you something. And this woman told her that it wasn't true. It was all in her head and that I was feeding her lies. And she went on to tell this woman, no, like, I'm not, no, I lived this. I saw this. And this woman said, well, I know people in the legal system and I've already looked into it and your mom's lying. And she was like, I never told you my mom said these things. And when she came home, she was a bundle of nerves and she just started bawling. And I just sat with her and I hugged her and we sat on the steps. And I was like, what's wrong? And she told me, Mom, this. And I cried with her because half of me was crying because I couldn't believe for the first time my daughter was like sticking up for me, but not sticking up for me like in a bad way, just sticking up for me because it was the truth. And it felt so good and so emotional. And I thought, damn, she does like me, you know?
Well, and I think seeing us have a friendship too
helped.
And it was validation.
And the impact that his actions has had on you, me, Avery, Deanna.
Yeah. She had people that she trusted, me and you, and you know what I mean? And all of us are saying the same thing. And it validates her, like, okay.
And she witnessed it, and she saw it, and she saw him lie. Even if he fed her stories to have her make sense of things, every year she grew older, she started to see through it.
Exactly.
And that didn't make sense anymore. She just wanted to believe the best in her dad. I drafted up an email. I read it over multiple times. I had Chris read over to make sure it didn't sound too aggressive. I was way too fucking nice. And I just said, hey, my daughter told me this, that, and the other. I'm very concerned about this, that, and this. And she came home crying, and I would love to know what happened, on your side of things. And, because obviously I should be aware of what happened during their visit. I'm the main parent now. But I said very nicely. And so she didn't respond to me. The following day, when I followed it up 2 days later, she didn't respond. I followed up with a text message. Just said, hey, I sent you an email. Just want to touch base with you. She responded with a text message talking shit about me. And it was meant for Ben to receive.
Oh my gosh.
And
calling you stupid or
calling you stupid. And I said this and that, and I was just like, I couldn't help myself. The tiger came out, and I was like, excuse me. I said, oh, I think you meant for this to be sent to Ben, not me. Hi. I'm guessing you got my email. And then never responds. Next thing I know, by that evening, she sends an email to my attorney and Ben's attorney saying how she doesn't even acknowledge what had happened. She just says that on the ride home that Cindy had brought up some things that happened to her that she does not believe is true whatsoever. And she believes that the mother is feeding the daughter lies and like crazy information to turn her against her dad. Uh-huh. And my attorney calls me, goes, we need to address this. And I'm just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I know.
What is happening?
What is happening? I know.
Again? How?
Ben was so incredibly unhinged and retaliating against all of us. And to my surprise, I learned that he had filed a restraining order on me. He was following through with what he threatened my lawyer and Athena with weeks back. He was going to make sure that I would never ever see Sydney again. And to make matters worse, my lawyer forwarded me some correspondence from Ben that stated that he had proof that I lied about everything in an email that I allegedly sent him. Are you kidding me? I never sent Ben even one email that confessed anything about me lying or anything. So here we go again. Ben was creating fake documents to get his way.
I about had a heart attack. I'm like, I have an Oregon restraining order. I have a 5-year, I just had a regular no contact at that point. And here is a restraining order. And I'm reading him saying I beat him up.
I know.
And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like, is this going to stand in court? He's been getting away with all of this.
I know. This was so scary.
I was so terrified. Like,
it's going to happen again. Is he going to win again?
He's going to win. Evidence? He's saying all these horrible things about me and that I lied and I'm vengeful and just, I mean, I'd have to go back and read everything, but I just remember feeling astonished and shocked at what I was reading.
And then
just scared. I've never been to court. I've never been up in front of a judge. I have huge anxiety, and I don't even think I would have been able to do it if you weren't there. I thought I was going to pee myself, sweating. I thought I was going to have a heart attack. I was going to cry all at the same time. And so I remember just, I need your help. I just called. I was like, I need your help. I don't know what to do.
I felt like you were me in 2016, and I was Allison, Chris's sister.
Mm-hmm.
Was like, I got you.
Yeah.
I got your back. I'm your bodyguard. No, he's not going to fucking touch you. And she had this confidence back then. She still does. But I knew that 100% because I remember thinking to myself, as you were very upset I wasn't just feeding you bullshit that I got your back. I knew that with the things that he was stating in court and the legalities, that even though he got away with so much, that the legal basis of things and the legal statements that he had made, I could actually counter them with legal statements.
Right. So thankfully you had
a protection order
yes.
against protecting Sydney and I against him.
Yes. So therefore he has no jurisdiction.
He had no right at that moment to like say who and what Sydney could do or be a part of, or so. Yeah. You do not have even a sense of what direction the outcome could go in. And that's kind of frightening too. Sometimes we're like, we got this, we know this is not. But then when I felt like that multiple times, and then I went to court with all of this factual information, and then this judge still gave him leeway, and there was no rhyme or reason. I thought, okay, it could go either way all the time. You just never know. Know.
Yeah.
And that's frightening.
Yeah. I know. I didn't know what to do. I just was beside myself, and
it was pre-COVID, so you had to come up and drive from Oregon.
Yeah. And we all had fires going. So Deanna had a big fire that she was dealing with, and I'm dealing with my fire, and you realize that you have another fire brewing.
There's always a fire brewing with me. I'm sure there's one right now, by the way.
I know, right?
Next time on Ex-Wives Undercover.
I remember you calling me going, Athena, oh my God, what the fuck? He's trying to do this against Sydney too, so I can't see her. And I'm like, it's okay. Like, and then it was like the light bulb moment where I was like, wait a second.
Yes. He was late. He walks in, he looks right at us, and you're like, grinning from ear to ear, and I'm like, stop it. He's like staring daggers at us, and I'm like, he's gonna kill us. You stop it right now. Stop smiling. And you're just like, hi, Ben. I'm just like staring at the floor.
Surprise, biatch.
And once again, if you like what you're hearing, please leave us a 5-star review and make sure to join our private Facebook group for even more juicy info. You can also find us on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. And of course, you can always visit our site at www.exwivesundercover.com.